The best chess player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, a name synonymous with brilliance, strategy, and near invincibility. Magnus Carlsen almost never loses, winning almost every tournament he's ever taken part in. But there are rare instances where deadly players you wouldn't expect, have demolished Magnus in a matter of seconds. Today, we explore some of Magnus Carlsen's fastest losses, where even the king of chess had to bow down before his opponents. Brace yourselves in for an epic journey into the realm of speed chess. Magnus Carlsen versus Alexander Morozevich. Let's begin with a game Magnus played against Alexander Morozevich, who was ranked number 2 in the world at his peak. Magnus' opponent was not just anybody, and when the clock turned on, Magnus started the game by moving his pawn to c4. Alexander responds by moving his pawn to e6, and thus, the battle begins. The first few moves are played, and the game turns into an English opening. Magnus seems to have a slight advantage with a well-developed position, but Morozevich has an extra pawn, making the game intense. Magnus starts creating an attack on Morozevich's king, trading his rook for a knight, and revealing a triple attack on Alexander's pawn. The tension builds, and Magnus plays knight g4, forcing a trade of all the pieces. Magnus wants to bring his queen to infiltrate Morozevich's position, but it's too late. Morozevich already has too much extra material and only needs to trade pieces off to secure victory. In a series of moves, Morozevich hides his king in a corner while threatening checkmate by taking the pawn on h4. Magnus has no option but to resign, a rare defeat for the chess prodigy. Magnus Carlsen versus Boris Savchenko. The next match is even more interesting. Magnus faces Boris Savchenko, and in this game, Magnus would make one of the worst mistakes in chess history. Magnus opens with pawn to e4, and Boris responds with c5, leading to a Sicilian defense. Magnus tries to create an advantage, but Boris defends skillfully, causing Magnus to blunder. Magnus makes a scary blunder, moving his knight to d5, which gives away a free pawn to Boris. Magnus realizes his mistake, but tries to recover by pushing his pawn, seemingly having a plan. Boris falls into another trap, allowing Magnus to win a knight. Magnus is in control now, but the game becomes a fierce battle of skill and strategy. Magnus and Boris maneuver their pieces, trading blows, until Magnus makes a fatal error. He moves his king to d4, which allows Boris to checkmate Magnus by capturing his rook. A devastating loss for Magnus, but a remarkable victory for Boris. Magnus Carlsen versus Judit Polgar. The next match was even more devastating, and in this casual game against Judit Polgar, Magnus was about to meet his match. Judit opens the game with e4, which Magnus responds to with c4, the Sicilian defense. After the first few pieces are developed, Judit castles her king queenside. As the tension mounts, the knights are traded off the board, and Magnus strategically placed his bishop on b7. Sensing an opportunity, he cleverly takes Judit's pawn on g4, a move that cannot be recaptured without losing her rook. Judit is taken aback, searching for a response, and then decides to push Magnus' knight away with her rook. The game progresses, and after Judit moves her bishop to e4, Magnus plays his rook to c8, a critical mistake. In a swift move, Judit plays her bishop to b6, threatening a checkmate on d7. Magnus contemplates his options, aware that his position is crumbling. He deliberates for what seems like an eternity before making the fateful decision to take Judit's bishop, but the damage has been done. Magnus has already lost. With his queen gone and his knights unable to salvage the situation, Magnus resigns the game, a devastating defeat in only 19 moves. It is a bitter pill to swallow, a reminder that even the greatest minds can fall victim to the merciless nature of chess. This fast-paced encounter between Magnus Carlsen and Judit Polgar serves as a poignant reminder that no one is invincible. In the realm of chess, fortunes can change in an instant, and even the most formidable opponents can be humbled by a single misstep. Magnus Carlsen versus Bar Patron. In a dimly lit bar filled with the clinking of glasses and murmurs of conversation, Magnus Carlsen, the reigning world chess champion, sits at a table opposite an enthusiastic bar patron. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation as the crowd gathers around, eager to witness a battle of wits between the chess prodigy and a local chess aficionado. The game begins, and Magnus Carlsen, known for his unorthodox style, surprises everyone by opening with the rarely seen b3, known as the Nismo-Larsen attack. The bar patron, caught off guard, takes a moment to compose himself before responding with e5. Undeterred by his opponent's solid response, Magnus quickly develops his pieces playing nf3. The bar patron, determined to counterattack, mirrors Magnus's moves and plays nc6. With a slight smile, Magnus proceeds to fianchetto his dark squared bishop by playing b2 to b3 and bb2. The bar patron, sensing Magnus's intention, advances his d7 pawn to d5, aiming to establish control in the center. Magnus, known for his ability to assess pawn structures, calmly captures the d5 pawn with his e2 pawn, striking at the heart of the bar patron's position. The bar patron, realizing the need to regain control, recaptures with his c6 pawn. In a surprising turn of events, Magnus sacrifices his knight on d5, opening up the position and initiating a complex tactical battle. The crowd gasps as the bar patron grapples with the consequences of capturing the knight. With a calculated glint in his eye, Magnus plays ob3, putting pressure on the pinned c6 pawn and threatening to disrupt the bar patron's coordination. The bar patron, feeling the pressure, responds with be6, defending the pawn and preparing for a potential exchange of queens. Magnus, not one to shy away from complications, avoids the queen exchange by playing qa4. The crowd watches in awe as Magnus's pieces harmoniously coordinate, preparing for an impending assault. The bar patron, fully engaged in the battle, responds with nbd7. Sensing an opportunity, Magnus seizes the moment and plays the move nxc6, sacrificing his knight for a well-calculated gain. The bar patron, taken aback by Magnus's boldness, captures the knight for his a7 rook. And now, Magnus unveils his masterstroke. He plays the move e4, breaking open the center and unleashing his powerful bishop on b2. The bar patron, realizing the gravity of the situation, frantically looks for counterplay. But the position quickly becomes untenable. With relentless precision, Magnus Carlsen continues his assault. He plays d5, sacrificing a pawn to open up lines for his rooks and further exploit the bar patron's weakened defenses. The bar patron, desperately seeking counterplay, captures the pawn on d5. But Magnus is undeterred. He responds with qxc6, exposing the bar patron's king to a series of checks and forcing it into a vulnerable position. The crowd watches in amazement as Magnus's strategy unfolds. With the bar patron's king now exposed, Magnus delivers a powerful blow. He plays rxd7, sacrificing his rook to set up a lethal combination. The bar patron, realizing the impending checkmate, plays kh8 in a last-ditch attempt to evade Magnus's. But Magnus is relentless in his pursuit of victory. With a confident smile, he delivers the final blow by playing bx f7+, a stunning bishop sacrifice. The bar patron, with limited options remaining, is forced to capture the bishop with his king kh8. Now, with the bar patron's king trapped in the corner and his defense shattered, Magnus finishes the game with a flourish. He plays qh5+, a devastating check that forces the bar patron's king to the edge of the board. The bar patron, knowing that his fate is sealed, plays kxh5, hoping for a miraculous escape. However, Magnus calmly delivers the coup de grace, playing rh1, a beautiful checkmate that elicits applause from the captivated audience. As the crowd erupts into cheers and applause, Magnus Carlsen graciously extends his hand to the defeated bar patron, acknowledging their valiant effort. The bar patron, humbled by the experience, accepts the handshake with a mix of admiration and disappointment. The game between Magnus Carlsen and the bar patron will be remembered as a thrilling display of skill, tactics, and audacity. Magnus's unorthodox moves, sacrifices, and calculated maneuvers showcased his brilliance as a chess player, while the bar patron's resilience and determination earned the respect of all who witnessed the match. With this victory, Magnus Carlsen adds another triumph to his illustrious career, leaving a lasting impression on the bar patrons and chess enthusiasts alike. As the evening draws to a close, the spectators disperse, inspired by the remarkable encounter they were fortunate enough to witness. And thus, the clash between Magnus Carlsen and the bar patron comes to an end, leaving behind a tale of passion, strategy, and the enduring allure of the game of chess.